60 years ago this month, an armistice brought an end to the Korean War. By then, the conflict had lasted for 3 years, drawn in 20 nations and caused more than 1 million deaths. In the chaos of the final week, some Koreans were separated from their relatives as families found themselves on different sides of the ceasefire line, now the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. This anniversary comes at a time of renewed tension on the Korean peninsula, but a new exhibition in London looks at the war from an artist's perspective. I've been to see it. Many artistic styles make it into this exhibition, from portrait to sculpture to photography and video installations. The idea is to interpret a long-ago conflict and bring the events to life in a new way. It's often called the Forgotten War, remarkable considering that 20 nations were involved. Over the 3 years of the conflict, there were 4 million casualties, scarring lives on both sides of the eventual ceasefire line. Now, a younger generation of Koreans, artists like 이이남의, are revisiting what happened.
When I think of the Korean War, I think of hurt and pain, and I feel hurt and pain. The pain of the war is still in all Koreans, and it stays on in their descendants. When I was preparing for this exhibition, I was thinking about the Battle of Sariwon and the people who participated. The title of the exhibition is 60 Years of Memories, and I wanted to put them into my artwork.
Survivors of the Korean War are now few and far between, but this exhibition has a unique place for the veterans. And this is a photographic depiction of a wall in the home of one of them, David Kamsler, who was 26 when he was deployed from the UK to Korea. This is actually the medal that he was awarded after the conflict. And his life has inspired more than one artist taking part in this exhibition.
I met David about 3 months ago, and I saw the background of his, his sitting room completely covered in nostalgic photographs and all that, and I found that very poignant, and I felt if I did a painting of him, something of him will leave, will stay behind. So that's why I picked him.
As the exhibition opened its doors, the real David Kamsler was here to see it.
It was a different world, if you like. It was, I suppose, really a question of survival of the fittest in that particular instance. You either got it or you didn't get it. You either life was charmed or didn't. I mean, obviously, from my point of view, there were many occasions where friends of mine just didn't make it.
Have you ever been back?
No, I haven't been back. Friends of mine have actually procured on their laptops pictures of Seoul. I couldn't believe it. It was absolutely like a phoenix rising from the ashes. It was fantastic.
Did it make you feel proud because you've played a part in that phoenix?
No, I think, to be quite honest with you, we were essentially modest to the extent that we didn't dwell upon what we'd done. We assumed that what we did was in the course of duty.
David Kamsler, a veteran of the Korean War. We're just coming up to 60 years since the armistice that ended the war. And with me now is one of the artists whose work you saw in that piece, Soon-Hak Kwon, and also the curator of the exhibition, Stephanie Seungmin Kim. Stephanie, the exhibition was your idea. Why look back at this terrible conflict in an artistic way?
I thought it was important to look back, and I wanted artists to discover their stories and wanted to interpret in their ways so that it will leave a positive legacy. And also we remember the soldiers who came to Korea 60 years ago.
Yeah, soldiers from so many different nations. I think that's one of the really remarkable aspects of the war. So one of the artists that you brought together was Soon-Hak Kwon. Tell me how you began, because the piece you put together was the one that I was filmed in front of. It's a wall in the home of the veteran David Kamsler.
Yes, that's right.
Why did you choose to depict him like that?
Actually, Stephanie has suggested me because she knows my work very well, and I've been shooting gallery walls and spaces, so that kind of involves, she got an idea for me to make a piece out of his wall.
So you went to his home, and is this exactly what it looked like, the actual wall in his house?
Yes, it is. Yes, it's full of objects of his own preference and, of course, kind of historical objects.
And his medals?
Of course, medals and lots of Diana's pictures, yes.
Yeah, I think we can see some of those in the pictures, but clearly it told a story of his life. Stephanie, is this a theme in the work of a very young generation of Korean artists? Do you think people in Korea still have a consciousness about the events of so long ago?
I think we live with it. We are surrounded by news every day, so we become very immune to it. So I thought it was really important to refresh it, because it's a story about where we are from and, you know, what we have become.
And does it feel more real now? Because, you know, as it happens, this 60th anniversary comes at a really difficult time.
Sure.
North and South Korea have barely been out of the headlines for the last few months.
So I thought it was important to readdress it. And I think the story will be with the soldiers in their very late 80s and, you know, approaching 90s. It was important to collect their stories.
Sunak, what are you taught in Korea actually about the war? I mean, is it something that every Korean child grows up with, the story of the war and then the division of the country?
Yes, of course we learn about Korean War and throughout the army service you learn about the conflict between North and South. But I think in my generation it's sort of forgotten in a way because it's so a busy modern life in Korea at the moment. So I think this exhibition also kind of give me a chance to realize, I mean, to memorialize in a way.
So did you think differently then about the conflict after being part of this project than you did before?
Well, it wasn't quite realistic in a way, the war. It isn't over, and it's still ceasefire, and I think throughout this exhibition I had kind of come to a realistic aspect of our nation.
Well, for anyone who actually can manage to see it, the exhibition is on at Asia House here in London at the moment. Thank you both, Soon-Hak Kwon and Stephanie Kim. Thank you very much.